Good afternoon everyone, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. In response to some of the questions I've been receiving from potential landlords asking the question, in light of everything that is happening, is it still worth investing in the buy-to-let property market? In short, the answer is possibly, provided that you have the right attitude, the right standards and the right intentions. The days of profiteering from the buy-to-let market are, for the time being, over, and possibly over for the future, foreseeable future at least. And that is not a bad thing. After all, if you wish to just buy a property and then sell it when you can get the highest price, there are thousands of properties up and down the country in need of renovation, so just buy them and flip them. Why rent them out in the meantime and then put a tenant through the stress and expense of moving into your property only for you to try and get rid of them when it suits you? You need to change the entire structure of how you rent out properties and consider that although you may have the right to draw an income from that property in the form of a rent, tenants also have a right to their family life and to a home, and that home must be to a very high standard. The days of renting out a property with an old boiler, with damp, with mold, with any one of countless problems, and then ignoring tenants' pleas and requests for those issues to be repaired are just about, and quite rightly so, over. And that should not be the case anyway. If you have a property that you rent out to a tenant, to a family, your responsibility is to them. Your responsibility is to keep their home in immaculate condition as best as you can, of course. And to that effect, even though the media has chosen a very, very small minority of tenants and made the rest of them scapegoats, they have done the same with landlords by taking a very, very small minority of unprofessional and greedy landlords and made the rest of the landlords scapegoats. The vast majority of landlords throughout the UK only own one or two buy-to-lets. It's just their income for their later years, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is actually catastrophic that they are being bullied out of the market because, as I have said previously, the whole idea of the assured short-term tenancy was not just to create a void in rental properties, but also to create a mobile workforce who could easily move to a different part of the country to take on a job, start a business, whatever, and be able to find a home to rent for 6 months or a year or slightly more. Now, although the Section 21 appears to be on its way out, and the government is promising an independent legal process for landlords who are having problems, we know from the existing court system, which is in complete and utter chaos, that any measures they put in place will probably follow suit. So landlords do need to take steps to protect themselves as best as they can, and I for one have been suggesting to my clients to make small changes to their lease in order to do so. So if you are thinking about renting and you want to get some ideas about changes you could make to the structure of your lease, by all means get in touch and I'll be happy to discuss it with you. Now, interest rates of 5%, I believe, are what I would call the strike point between leaving the black and entering the red on buy-to-let at 75% loan to value. It's probably lower than that in the southeast, where property is higher value and the yields are lower. It's probably slightly higher in the north, where property values are lower and yields are slightly higher. But as a ballpark, around 5% is where 75% loan to value becomes unaffordable and there are many landlords out there now who are actually making a loss renting out their properties. They're struggling to sell their properties because there's a tenant in place, and as we know, it's difficult to sell because buy-to-let lenders do make it difficult, and they're basically tied to this debt that's increasing, and they're watching themselves literally slipping into debt, and there's nothing that they can do about it, which is very, very unfair. Where tenants are concerned, I do believe that there should be measures to ensure that their right to a clean and safe and comfortable home is respected, and that they are not simply treated as commodities, because that's wrong. And to be fair, the vast majority of landlords don't do that. Most landlords, as I said, only have 1 or 2 properties, and it is simply to top up their income as they get older. And when they have tenants who pay their rent, who don't have any problems, they wouldn't dream of removing them for no reason whatsoever. So there is room here to change things for the better on both sides. But for those entering the market or thinking about entering the market, you need to look at a lower loan to value. I would say a maximum of 60% loan to value now. You need to ensure that the property is in immaculate order, is maintained to the best of your ability. And as I said, there are certain strategies that can help to protect the landlord a little bit more in light of the changes, but not to the detriment of the tenant in any way, shape or form. I hope that this helps, and as always, if you do have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. I'm always happy to offer my thoughts on whatever your issues may be. Please email me if possible, because messages on the platform get lost because there's just so many of them. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.